Yo, what's up, guys? It's Noah here, breaking down the NBA slate on DraftKings and Yahoo for Thursday, February the 13th. We're going to cover Thursday's short two-game slate, go position by position, talk about the plays that stand out to me the most, looking at this slate on Wednesday night. We'll hit on DraftKings pricing, look at some guys I like there. We'll talk about some guys I like over on Yahoo as well. We'll take a look at their pricing. Just before we do get started, guys, as always, I would appreciate it if you would drop a like down below. If you are new to the channel, if this is your first time checking out a video on my channel, thank you so much for clicking on the video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. Click the notification bell so that way you will get notified every time I upload. You'll never miss out on any of my new videos. And if you would like, you can follow me on Twitter. Link down below is my Twitter account. You can find it in the description at DFS by Noah. If you want to give me a follow, I would appreciate it. But we're going to go position by position today. Short two-game slate. This is our last slate before the All-Star break. After today's games conclude, there's no NBA games till next Thursday. So we're going to have a week off of no NBA. Obviously, I won't have any videos up on my channel for the next week. There will be other sports going on, like throughout the week. You got like XFL happening this weekend. I'm pretty sure NHL is still going on, but I don't cover those sports, so I'm not going to put videos up for those sports if I don't play them. So after today, I won't have any videos up for the next week. So if you're wondering why the channel's not going to be active, it's just because there's no NBA games going on. So this will kind of be a short break for me. As someone who's been playing DFS for like the last 3 to 4 years, I always look forward to the All-Star breaks. It's just kind of a week off from DFS, let you kind of recuperate, I should say. The NBA is a long season. I play pretty much every single day, if not at least I'm playing Monday through Friday. Sometimes I'll take the weekends off, but I'm usually playing every single day. I've been playing DFS for a while now, so I do kind of look forward to the All-Star breaks, just get a little break from DFS. We do have one more slate. This short two-gamer we will break down. We'll start off at point guard. So at the top, we got Jrue Holiday for $7,400, our most expensive point guard on DraftKings. I do like Jrue Holiday quite a bit today. I think he is one of the better options to pay up for on today's slate. Our most expensive player overall is Kawhi Leonard, and he's $9,100. DraftKings did make the pricing pretty soft today, but it kind of makes sense. It's a two-game slate. If you price everybody up, it's just going to be really hard to make lineups. So you're going to look at these guys' prices and be like, man, these guys are really cheap. Like there were some prices I was looking at earlier. Just guys were incredibly cheap. Like Montrezl Harrell's down to $4,500. I know he's been bad lately, but we'll talk about him. Like that's a really cheap price tag. Even Daniel Tice, dude's been putting up 25, 30 DraftKings points every night, playing 30 minutes a night. He's $4,600. Like Danilo Gallinari's only $5,500. So you can kind of see the pricing's pretty soft today. Jrue Holiday definitely stands out as a guy that's just underpriced. $7,400 on DK. I like him a lot as one of the pay-up options. Over on Yahoo, looking at point guard, he's $32. Definitely one of my favorite pay-up options there as well. So really the only big injury we need to watch heading into Thursday's slate is the status of Brandon Ingram. He is questionable. This is obviously a very big injury that just totally changes the slate if he's in or out. If he's out, that's a boost for Jrue Holiday. Even if Brandon Ingram plays, I still like Jrue Holiday quite a bit at $7,400. But just the last two games with Brandon Ingram out, Jrue Holiday has played very well. 61 and 45 DraftKings points, getting pretty solid minutes, 32, 29 minutes. That game against Portland did blow out, so that was one of the reasons Jrue only played 29 minutes. He was on pace to play his normal like 34, 36 minutes. That's what I would expect from Jrue today. I do like this matchup against OKC. I think Jrue can have some success in this spot. We know this is an OKC team that plays a lot of small ball, so you're going to need a guy like Jrue Holiday out there to guard guys like Dennis Schroeder, Chris Paul, SGA. Like one of those three guys, if not two of those three guys, is going to be on the floor at all times. So I expect big minutes from Jrue Holiday. He gets even more usage if Ingram's out, which I would like him even more if that's the case. I do prefer him over a guy like Kemba Walker. Tough spot for Kemba Walker against the Clippers. At $7,300, that's a pretty nice price tag if you want to go to him, but he's definitely been struggling as of late. When the Celtics are fully healthy, rarely do I play Kemba Walker. I usually like to target him when maybe a guy misses, but that's just not the case right now. So not a ton of interest there. Chris Paul, I do like quite a bit in this spot against the Pelicans. I think overall this OKC New Orleans game is just a much more appealing game to target on this slate. This is definitely going to be the game I have the most exposure to between the two. And I like Chris Paul quite a bit here. Facing New Orleans, a team that plays at a very fast pace. This is a good spot for these OKC guys. The Pelicans are playing at the third fastest pace in the league. If we do look at defensive rating, they're a pretty bad defensive team as well. They've been improving on the defensive end, but they still rank 23rd in defensive rating on the season. So I really like Chris Paul today. I think he's another point guard that really stands out. 7,100 on DraftKings. Switching over to Yahoo, he's $1 less than Drew Holiday. Just choosing between those two guys, I prefer Drew Holiday, but on a 2-game slate where we don't have a ton of options, I really like playing both guys together. I think that makes plenty of sense, especially when you look at the point guard position. Your cheapest point guard on Yahoo is that you're probably going to play is Lou Williams. I mean, there's some $10 point guards available, but you're probably not playing those guys. So I feel like this is probably a position you're going to look to try and fit in some of these expensive guys. And Drew and CP3, I like quite a bit at their salaries. But then other point guards, I think SGA at 6,500 is totally fine if you want to go to him. Same with Dennis Schroeder at 5,800. I always prefer to roster guys like Chris Paul, SGA. I prefer to roster those two guys over Dennis Schroeder. But we know if it's a close game, Schroeder's getting 30, 32 minutes. Even if he comes, or even coming off the bench, he's still going to get the minutes. Pace-up spot against the Pelicans. He's obviously in play on a 2-game slate. But I do prefer the other two guys, the other two guards. But really, that's it for point guard. Like, there's no cheap plays I want to go to here. I feel like a lot of my exposure at this position is going to go to Drew Holiday, to Chris Paul, SGA I have some interest in. If Brandon Ingram's out, I would like Lonzo Ball a little bit more. I would still have Lonzo behind, like Chris Paul, behind Drew Holiday. I'd probably rank him ahead of SGA, though. So if Ingram's out, I actually like Lonzo a good amount at 7K. If Ingram plays, probably won't get to Lonzo. I think I'd just rather get to CP3. We'll go ahead and switch over to shooting guard. I'll just go ahead and tell you guys this is going to be a really quick video just because there's not a lot to talk about on a 2-game slate. Probably going to be one of the shorter videos I've made this season. So it's shooting guard. SGA looks like the best option here, 6,500, just in my opinion. In the mid-range, in the 5K range, there's not really much stands out. Like Marcus Smart, I don't really want to go to. Jaylen Brown's really cheap, so I will mention him. 6K is a very affordable price tag for Jaylen Brown. Kind of similar to Kemba Walker. His game log doesn't look pretty as of late. Very similar to Kemba as well. Like I don't really target Jaylen Brown when the Celtics are fully healthy. But at a 6K price tag, I do have some interest in him. I think if I can find $500, I'd probably rather play SGA for $500 more in a better matchup. But Jaylen Brown's fine. If Brandon Ingram's out, you could go to Josh Hart, but at $5,600 on a slate where there's just a lot of other guys that are too cheap, don't really want to pay a $5,600 price tag for Josh Hart. Redick's been getting some good run off the bench with Brandon Ingram out. He's been playing really well. 39, 27 DK points the last 2 games coming off the bench with Ingram out. 28, 21 minutes. Taking Ingram off the floor obviously gets a high usage player off the floor, which opens up more opportunity for someone like JJ Redick, more opportunity for him to get up shots. If Ingram sits, he's a fine value, but again, this is probably a position I want to spend. I want to get some of these 6 or 7K guys in. I think Drew, you can play at shooting guard. SGA, I like a good amount. But yeah, that's probably it for like the guards just for today. So let's go ahead and talk about small forward now. So Kawhi Leonard, normally a guy I don't roster when the Clippers are fully healthy, but he's down to 9,100 today, and it's a 2-game slate, so I'm totally fine rostering Kawhi. Like I would much rather play him over Jason Tatum. There's a $900 difference. I think Kawhi would just project much better. He's just a guy I feel can get me 50, 55 DraftKings points most nights, which is pretty good for a $9,100 salary. He is the most expensive player on the slate, but it's not like he's that expensive. He's 9,100. It's pretty easy to get to him if you want to pay up for Kawhi. On Yahoo, if we look at small forward, like you're probably going to have to prioritize spending at this position just because you have Kawhi at 46, Tatum at 41. If Brandon Ingram plays, you have him at 34. But other than that, like I don't really want to go to Marcus Morris. Josh Hart's fine if Brandon Ingram's out, but I don't really want to play him just because I don't think he has that much upside. I mean, he did get 31 fantasy points last game with Ingram out in 26 minutes, so maybe you could go there, but you probably are going to want to try and fit in Kawhi at this position, especially on a 2-game slate. Like, if Kawhi goes for 50, 55, it's very likely he's going to be in the winning lineup. Even if he goes for 40, there's a chance he's still in the winning lineup on a short slate. So, yeah, normally I don't play Kawhi, but I'm totally fine with it today. Even in a less-than-ideal matchup against Boston, I think you can go to him. If Brandon Ingram plays, I actually like him a ton at only 7,200. That is a very cheap price tag for Brandon Ingram. When this guy's fully healthy, I mean, he should be close to an 8K player. He's going to put up probably 40 to 45 DraftKings points most nights. He still has over a 30 or close to a 30% usage rate this season, even with Zion in the lineup. Still averages like close to 1.3 fantasy points per minute. Obviously, his status is probably the biggest injury to watch today. Good thing is both these games are 8 o'clock, so we're going to have all the news we need before lock. so we can make adjustments later on in the day if we need to. Assuming Ingram plays, I like him a good amount if he's not limited. If he's out, you guys know who to play: Drew, Hart, the guys we've talked about. But Danilo Gallinari, definitely someone I want to talk about, especially on DraftKings, but I think he looks appealing on Yahoo as well. So 5,500 is just a really cheap price tag for Gallinari, especially in a pace-up spot here against the Pelicans. We know he's going to play 30, 32 minutes if the game's competitive, which this game should be. I mean, the dude's just been as consistent as it gets. You look at the game log, getting you pretty much about 30-plus DraftKings points every night. Just in his last 10 games, he has 8 of his last 10 games with over 30 DraftKings points. At 5,500, like I'm looking for about 35 DK points from him in tournaments to be a good play, and I think he can easily get that in this matchup. I think Gallinari is just way too cheap today. Definitely stands out at his DK salary, and I think on Yahoo, looking at the power forward position, $24, I think Gallinari also stands out over there. I'll just go ahead and say it, like the power forward position really sucks on Yahoo. You're probably not playing any of these $10 guys, so you're definitely going to have to spend here for guys like Gallinari, Zion Williamson, Gordon Hayward, so definitely like Gallinari on Yahoo as well, especially just there's only like 3 playable options at the position. I don't really want to go to any of these guys. You're probably going to have to pay for one of these 3. I'd be very surprised if any of these $10 guys make it into the winning lineup tomorrow night. But yeah, that's probably it for small forward. Like, I really like Gallinari here. I like Brandon Ingram if he plays. I think it's totally fine to pay up for Kawhi, especially on a short 2-game slate. But that's just kind of what I'm seeing for small forward today. If Ingram's out, you could go to Josh Hart. But let's go ahead and talk about power forward now. So at this position, I really like Zion Williamson at 7,800 on DraftKings. Finally broke out in his last game against Portland. Had a big game. Put up 50 DraftKings points in only 28 minutes. He really wasn't limited in that game. He wasn't limited in that game. The Pelicans just blew out the Blazers. So like a lot of the starters didn't play their full allotment of minutes. I know Zion was still out there in the fourth quarter for till 6 or 5 or 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Then he subbed out. I have a feeling he would have been on pace to play about his normal 32 to 34 minutes if the game was close. This game against OKC should be close, so we should expect Zion to play 32 to 34 minutes. This season, he's been a very productive player. It's a short sample size, but he's been a high usage player, really productive as well, averaging, I believe, like 1.4 fantasy points per minute. Actually, 1.31 fantasy points per minute for Zion on the season, 29% usage rate. Looking at his assist and total rebound percentage, 12.6% assist percentage, 14.3% assist percentage, or total rebound percentage, If you were to take Brandon Ingram off the floor, the numbers look even better for Zion. I know it's going to be a very small sample size, but in the short sample with Ingram off the floor, 108 minutes, 1.71 fantasy points per minute, 35.6% usage rate, 15% assist percentage, 16.7% total rebound percentage. All his numbers see a boost with Ingram off the floor, and it makes sense. Ingram's a high usage player. Getting him off the floor is going to allow a guy like Zion to soak up more usage. I watched a lot of that game against the Blazers. I mean, Zion just looked so good in that game. He was fighting around the basket, getting a lot of putbacks, offensive boards. They really couldn't slow him down. He was just getting to the rim, just looked really aggressive, just played really well. He was kind of facilitating the offense as well, like getting the ball at the free throw line, finding guys, kind of like Jokic, finding guys around the basket, getting assists. Had 31 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. Was a really good game from Zion. With this price coming up, maybe people shy away from him, but especially if Brandon Ingram's out, I think I'll be going right back to Zion on today's short slate. Really like him on Yahoo, especially with the lack of options at the position. With really only 3 playable guys at power forward, I think you're just probably locking in Zion at $33 and moving on. One of my favorite plays on today's slate. But really, other than that, like that's it for power forward. Zion you can play here. Obviously, Gallinari has power forward eligibility. I don't really want to pay $8,200 for Jason Tatum. I think I'd rather try and get up to Kawhi or save $1,000 and play a guy like Ingram. I'd rather play Zion over Tatum. Gordon Hayward at $6,700 I don't really like, especially with him just $500 difference between him and Ingram. I'd rather play Ingram there. I guess Marcus Morris at $5K is fine to go to. Played big minutes, 35 minutes, and I believe that was his debut with the Clippers. Or no, he did play, or that was his debut with the Clippers against Cleveland, 22 minutes. But 35 minutes against Philly. Seems like he's going to be locked into big minutes. He did start that game. Wasn't that productive, only 23 DraftKings points, but at $5K today, he's totally fine to go to. But yeah, that's probably it for power forward. There's no punt options here, no cheap plays I'll be going to. So let's go ahead And talk about center real quick just before we end the video. Like I said, guys, really short slate today, so really quick video. I'm not even sure how long I've been recording, but I'm sure this is going to be one of my shorter videos. So looking at center, our most expensive center on today's slate is Steven Adams, which is just crazy to say. 5,300 on DraftKings. I think he does look like the best center play by quite a lot, I should say. I would say by quite a lot. I do like Tice, but I definitely prefer Steven Adams over a guy like Derek Favors. Even with Brandon Ingram out last game, they're just not giving Derek Favors minutes right now. He's still going to be productive when he's on the floor. He's been a fantasy point per minute player this season. But right now, it only seems like they're going to give him 22 to 24 minutes. They can use Zion a lot at center. Steven Adams, on the other hand, has been seeing his minutes increase, getting about 30 to 32 minutes as of late. Played 32 minutes against the Spurs, was really productive. 10 and 10 with two assists, 1 block, 4 steals, had 35 DK points. In a nice pace-up spot against the Pelicans, where there's going to be a lot of shot attempts, a lot of rebound opportunities. It's very likely either Steven Adams or Daniel Tice, maybe Montrezl Harrell. It's going to be one of those 3 guys. It probably winds up being the highest scoring center on the slate. I think I like Steven Adams the most at 5,300. Looking at Yahoo's pricing, you have Montrezl Harrell at 22, Adams at 20, Tice at 19. I think it's definitely between those 3 guys on who you want to roster at center today. And like I said, Steven Adams at $20, I think I like the most at the position. But Daniel Tice, definitely my next favorite center. 4,600 on DraftKings. Dude's just been really productive since coming back from injury. Played 2 games, played 30 minutes and 29 minutes in those 2 games, 36 and 25 DraftKings points. This is a spot against the Clippers where I would expect Tice to probably play 28 to 30 minutes again. Even with the Rockets playing a lot of small ball, Tice still played 29 minutes against them in their most recent game. So it seems like they're going to give him the minutes, and he's a productive player when he gets minutes. He's averaged, I believe, a fantasy point per minute this season, if not greater. And at 4,600, it's very likely he's able to pay off the salary. For what it's worth, he had a monster game against the Clippers earlier this season, 31 minutes, 40 DraftKings points, 8 points, 14 rebounds, 6 assists. Pretty productive game from Daniel Tice, so I like him a lot as well. I think Montrezl Harrell at 4,500 is a guy you can go to. Not getting a ton of minutes right now, which is definitely a concern. Only got 24 minutes against Philly. It was a blowout against Cleveland, but he only played 20 minutes that game, 17 minutes against Minnesota. We know Montrezl Harrell still has a ton of upside. With his price way down on DraftKings to 4,500, I think he's totally in play today, even in a tough matchup against the Celtics. I think I'd still prefer Daniel Tice, though, for just 100 more. I think Tice plays more minutes than Harrell, so I would rather go to him. I do like Steven Adams a lot in this fast-paced game. As you can see, in the early look core, I'm really loading up on this OKC New Orleans game. I think this is the game I want to target between the two. And normally I don't fully game stack games, but on a 2-game slate, I think it's totally viable to just load up on one game and kind of fade the other. Hope one game shoots out, winds up high scoring, and then just hope the other game is low scoring. And I think that could be the case today. I think we could see a high scoring shootout in OKC New Orleans and maybe sort of a defensive battle in the Clippers-Boston game. So I just really like loading up on that OKC game. But yeah, guys, I think that's it for center. There's really 4 playable options here. Adams, Favors, Tice, and Harrell are the guys I like the most. I'd probably rank them Adams 1, Tice 2, Harrell 3, Favors 4. Zubac's fine, but again, probably going to play 18 to 20 minutes. I think if I'm going to play a guy that's going to play limited minutes, I'd just rather roster Montrezl Harrell, especially with them being similarly priced. I don't want to play Nicolo Melli. I don't want to play Enes Kanter. Enes Kanter's just not getting the minutes right now. 8 minutes last game, 17 minutes the game before that. It's a 2-game slate. We know Enes Kanter has slate-breaking upside. This guy could drop 40 DraftKings points in 20 minutes and nobody would be surprised. But I don't think we're going to need the value today, especially because our most expensive player on the slate is only 9,100. We're not going to need these cheap punt values. So, yeah, that's probably it for center, guys. I think we covered everything. Short slate today, quick video, but hopefully you guys did enjoy. Hopefully the video still helped. If you did enjoy, as always, I would appreciate it if you would drop a like down below. Hit that subscribe button as well if you have not yet. Click the notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload. Also, make sure to follow me on Twitter. Link down below is my Twitter account, at DFS by Noah. If you want to give me a follow, I would greatly appreciate it. But best of luck tonight, guys. Enjoy the All-Star break. I'll be back next Thursday once the NBA the NBA games resume. Until then, guys, good luck tonight, and we'll see you next Thursday. Peace.